I know for 100% they won't find anything.
So what do you make of the fact that they are bringing the cadaver dogs in?
Janie's got a Rake.
Well, I'm actually pretty happy about that.
Janie's got a Rake.
I even hope that they bring more than one.
She's got so much to do.
So what are you happy about?
Her driveway needs a pool.
I would just like to see maybe the social media speculation theories and accusations, maybe they're not going to stop, but slow down, because at this point they're getting ridiculous.
When Danny was arrested, they found him on the pipeline trail, in front of helicopters running. Now that Janie's got a Rake, Fluffy's never gonna be the same.
Daniel's so fake, now what's he gonna do? Was he building a fence or clearing for a pool? Did the kids go to sleep at 10 or at 8? Little Danny boy can't escape his fate. Danny's more concerned about what you're thinking. The kids are an afterthought, let that sink in. Trolling the net pops up like a whack-a-mole. You wanna buy a story with a giant hole? Apparently Thursday had no detail. Here comes Mike on a mission to derail all of the BS Danny is speaking. International sea of guilt is leaking. Thinks he's so smart, but he never took the course. Forensic linguistics will knock him off his horse. Shout out to Tint for the 4K drone shots. Now it is clear that his house is in earshot. Mystery car running trips through the night. Observed by Wonk, he could even see the headline. Victim blaming is degrading the children. He's more concerned about the world's perception. Girl after girl, he receives rejection. At least he's got his mum when he needs some affection.
Janie's got a Rake.
So are you thinking that the dogs will go in there and won't find anything?
Janie's got a Rake.
I know for 100% they won't find anything.
She's got so much to do.
I didn't do anything.
Her driveway needs a pool.
I know Malaya didn't do anything. I know my mother didn't do
What
anything.
did her daddy do?
Those are 3 people on the property.
What did he put Jack and Lily through?
I mean, after the polygraph exam, they should have known right there. We didn't kill any of the kids.
They found him on the pipeline trail.
We didn't kill any of the kids. We didn't kill any of the kids.
In front of helicopters running. Now that Janie's got a Rake, Fluffy's never gonna be the same.
We didn't kill any of the kids.
Danny's on a roll, now he can't stop speaking. Plugging up the holes, but his ship is sinking. Thursday was just an ordinary day. I just spent 20 minutes trying to explain that nothing didn't happen and there are no details. Stupid dog handlers, they ain't gonna sniff trails. 100% they will not find nothing. That's a double negative, you dumb butt muffin. I was awake and asleep at the exact same time. Hang on, is Malaya's story lining up with mine? No cars were towed, but it's not at the impound. It wasn't in my name and the car makes no sense. This is a case of abuse and negligence. Jack and Lily are the victims of its consequence. Victim blaming is the mode of the family. You never hear anyone take responsibility. There were 3 adults on the block that night. People don't just vanish, get that right? Like John Benet Ramsey, there should be an indictment, and Janie is to blame for your incitement. You put up a wrench, but what the hell for? Like a bear can turn a handle but not slide a door. Your incessant rambling is a gift to detectives. So many contradictions, your tale is deflects.
Janie's got a Rake.
Filled notebooks with just trying to help them find leads, or
Janie's got a Rake.
give them any kind of small detail, answer as many questions as I can, or, you know, I'm doing everything I
Her
can.
driveway needs a pool.
So why do you think this step is necessary?
What did her daddy do?
Well, it just rules out one and brings the book a little bit closer to being
They
closed.
said when Danny was arrested, they found him on the pipeline trail.
I'm not going to say I'm doing well, but doing better than I was at the start, I guess.
Helicopters running. Now that Janie's got a Rake, Fluffy's never gonna be the same.
Tell me about the toll, like what you were just mentioning earlier about social media.
Yeah, social media has been quite a circus, we'll call it. But I can't control them, and they're free to judge.
And there is such a stark contrast right now between where his mind is at and where the minds of the people are who want to know what happened to Jack and Lily. And that is the only thing that we want to find out right now.
Welcome back, friends. It's good to see you. Thank you, all of you, for being in my chat so early. It's a fantastic song. I borrowed it from Mike Demand's channel, of course, and, well, that song is right on the money. And remember, friends, when you look back on this song existed before the charge. Those documents are quite revealing. Calio G. Hip, 1959, in my chat is saying, yeah, they were all right. They were all right. The unredacted details, they were anticlimactic because there's so many good sleuths out here. We already knew most of that, except what needs to be clarified that I found interesting right away was the reason for leaving Patty's. And it was because they didn't like that son of a bitch Daniel. There's a problem with Daniel, not Malaya and Patty. They didn't approach Malaya. So I think maybe that came through from, dare I say, Wade Paris's daughter. We didn't really know and kind of put that together and took for granted that, you know, there's a couple variables there. No worries. Now it makes a lot more sense. Of course you'd want that fucking tweaker out of your house. We don't even have to ask why. We don't have to ask why. We understand. What's up, Lindy? Good to see you, darling. And house music. Welcome in. Ginger's changing your name. Are you changing your name, Ginger? In my chat? Daniel's not trying to get custody of any children, Ginger. That's bullshit. Unless he's using it as a tactic in that sense. Nobody's going to allow him, for obvious reasons, around any children anytime soon. Wish people would just stop fucking listening to that. We've seen enough. Arrest these pond scum. So today, what are we going to talk about? Should we talk about first? You know, I guess it's worth mentioning that I really enjoyed, if there's such a thing in this circumstance. Yeah, there is, because there's competition. I really enjoyed the Globe and Mail's article, and I don't say that very often about mainstream media. That's the second article that was worth reading. And I love it because you can go and then quote the shit right out of it all over the place. Should take a quick look at that and all of the reasons why you should enjoy it too. On my community wall, you'll see an old message. I was scrolling through some of the old messages. I have a folder that I screenshot stuff into. Oh, there's Kent. You son of a bitch. Where's my window stickers, you bastard? I found it interesting that Daniel was doing... hold on. But Patty wanted Malaya and the kids to stay. She was willing to give her house to let her stay. She just wanted Daniel gone. True. That wasn't clear in Tint's interview with Wade. But it doesn't matter at this point in time. It's worth mentioning because it needs to be clarified. Daniel's a little fucking racist too. They all are. You can see it. You can smell it. You can taste it. You can read it. There's this example, and I may as well because we're let me see. Let me go there right now and I'll look at it. On my posts, Derwood O'Grady took that from a shot way back when it happened in somebody's live chat. I don't even know whose it was. I think it might have even been mine. Derwood O'Grady and mine. I don't know why it would be in my live chat. I thought we'd booted his punk ass a long time ago. But the reason I say that is because it looks like Angry Mimi is underneath it. Hold on, we're going to take a look together. Uh-oh. That didn't switch. One moment, please. One moment, please. There we go. I'll do that. That one right there. It says bottom, and you'll see why I say it's my chat, because underneath it there's Angry Mimi, which has one of my red eagles as one of my beloved channel members underneath. So I must have screenshot that back when we didn't really know who he was, or when he was just coming out. He was in here a couple times. Well, as Derwood O'Grady. Under his sock accounts, God knows how many times he's tried in that sense. Facts versus myths. Saw old Kent like a post about a guy from Pictou. I wonder if he still continued to like his post since that guy was just charged for SA of a minor. Facts versus true myths. I don't even know if I should follow up with that. I'm not puffing anything, Barky Boys. I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I don't hide it, but I'm not puffing anything. I was taking my sweet ass time today. What's up, Brian? Finally in my live chat. Holy mackerel. God, thank God you're here. Who is Daniel Barry Sport Highlight? As I think this is a red flag. Oh no. No, Daniel's been around long before this case in that sense. Holy shit! What are you doing, girlfriend? Lindy won the lottery, sending me a very generous amount. Oh my God. Girl, are you buying my love? I think I'm in love. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Lindy. So I think, yeah, like I have the Golden Eagle. You can see some of the red eagles. Jen R has one, and SR has red eagle. Lindy, of course, has a red eagle. And Angry Mimi up there has red. Actually, that's more of a hawk, I think. It's not actually an eagle. I say an eagle, but it's a hawk. I say it's an eagle during election year. Now, nonetheless. So it must have been from my chat way back, and it says, Derwood O'Grady says, bottom line is Daniel never unalived the kids. ... Thinking, loading. Malaya was standing, or was walking to the road to be picked up. I may as well zoom in. What does it say? Jancy? It's supposed to mean Janie. Janie was wrapped. What does that say? Holy shit. Oh, was supposed. Janie was supposed to be away for the night. Janie heard the kids, screwed up Malaya's plan. Derwood, you are really pumping out the misinformation since the get-go in all of this. But I thought that was fairly interesting. That's from long ago. Let's see. Do I have a time on that? No. Way back it would have had to have been. Let's see what's beside it. It's not important. I can't find it. I don't see it off my my grid here. It's not important. Not important. From earlier. I was over listening, and Mike's just did a good review on this, or an analysis, a refresher on the Jack and Lily Sullivan, Janie McKenzie voice messages, Daniel Martell's mother, on this link, which is Adventures Underwater UK.
Review.
It took me a while to find it, but there's a portion in there that hit me. There's the link for people watching after the fact in my chat. There's a portion in there that's worth reviewing. It's a 2.5 hour long video, though. But what we're going to do is something a little different. I thought I'd mention that to you because there's people looking for things to do that are constructive. Well, in the sense of the Jack and Lily case, in this sense. Barky Boys, why don't the RCMP make an AI video of Malaya and Daniel doing sneaky stuff to charge them? Who's going to know? Well, they don't need to. Someone stole my name. Just a clapping seal. Somebody stole my name. So now I'm clapping seal. The poster formerly known as CJ. Okay. All right. Somebody what? Somebody stole your name. You can be anybody you want. You can be anybody you want on this. Or you mean somebody's pretending to be you in that sense in other chats? I didn't know you were that important. Well, Wolfie, you're just so important. You're just a mover and a shaker behind the scenes. Now you're just a clapping seal. That's okay. That's fine. Now hold on. Let me see. Let's get this show on the road. Let me see here. Yeah, could you guys believe I was watching that a little earlier? Let me pull this up. Can you guys believe how dilated her pupils are? You see these? You see that on your screen? Holy Hannah. Look at that one. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm hypnotizing you. I'm hypnotizing you. I'm not even picking on her, but I was noticing that, and it was a trip. Look, see if I can fit both of them in there at the same time. Look at that. Imagine those are the eyes that Jack and Lily saw. That breaks my heart. These are the eyes that monitored Jack and Lily's goings on for their 2 years that they were there, roughly. And you're telling me, now I'm starting to understand why she was on that four-wheeler ride back to the pipeline to meet with Chance Layes. She needed to get a re-up. She's on the same tweak that Danny's on. They're doing a, what would you call that? A homemade version of therapy using a particular synthetic substance. Little in the coffee, little in the tea, little in the glass dick. Zzz, zzz. Yep. Look into my eyes. Now I know why Earl had to leave. I wouldn't put up with that either. Now we're running beside her. Look at the look on her face. She's sitting on the back deck. Do you think that this would have been moments before she talked to the cameras, before she hightailed it out of there? She's so worried about all of her personal business being out there. I thought that was clever. We're going to learn that in this little article that comes up. It's not going to work in this situation, but I thought that initially when I heard it, I thought, oh my God, the RCMP are placating to her. That's what they're doing. They're making this as comfortable as possible to get all of the information out of Malaya that they can. And they're in a sense bragging about it on a professional level in front of the camera. Oh, this is just how fantastic of a rapport we're building with the people involved here now. So they investigate in a different manner in this case, especially with Malaya. That's what it sounds like. We'll read it in a moment. She is scary to you as a grown-up. Those kids must have hid from her. I don't know about that. You'd be surprised what neuro-linguistic programming does to a person. What was being conditioned into her head. She was being made over the past 2 years to feel bad over her kids. She wasn't looking after her kids. Nobody there liked her. She was being made to feel like she was doing something wrong. Maybe she was. Believe me, take a look around the place. She probably could have done a little bit more. They all could have probably done so. But I wouldn't take it from them who's at fault and whose responsibility was whose. They've lied to us every step. We don't need them to fill in that blank. The answer's right in front of you. She was made to feel bad about her kids in that sense. And it was a double whammy because the more that she kind of complied to that, to Daniel's isolating her away from Jack and Lily's biological family, the paternal side of that family, Jack and Lily's. Daniel, after fucking wooing this broad on Facebook of all places, on Facebook dating. Geez, I wonder where things went fucking wrong. Here's another nightmare story for Facebook dating. Probably the worst case. What could possibly go wrong? Murphy's Law. But the situation here is Daniel didn't feel it necessary because it put him out. It made him feel uncomfortable that Jack and Lily still had a paternal side to be active in, like a loving family in that sense. There is grandma. Her house was centered to no matter what went on, and Daniel was pretend jealous because her ex Cody was going to be there. Like, what kind of pussy are you, dude? What kind of pussy are you? What kind of shit is this? Especially coming from a guy who has 2 kids already with somebody else. I don't know why on earth Malaya chose to take this route with you. Like, look before you leap. Oh, but I can't wait to take her on that walk on that big sandy island beach again and show her the Daniel that I used to be. Fuck, well, it was only like 24 months ago, son. This fucking guy. Let's see here. How am I going to do this? Got to figure out how to fit this on the screen better. Very white, isn't it? Let's go back here. So let me start reading you this article from the Globe and Mail. You probably already heard it, but most of you, if you're from Canada, it's hidden behind a paywall. But if you're from Europe or anywhere like that, you can read it for free. Yeah, I know. So anyway, you have to get it how you can get it. Yeah, that's a good point, Tambourine, in my chat, 36. That would have been my red flag. Your first red flag? If someone tried to keep my children from loving grandparents who cherished them, how selfish can you get? Right, exactly. And look how that ended. Bad freaking decision. Well, it seemed to be, the way she described it, to be over a period of time. It wasn't like an initial, decision, but it started with this divisiveness that you took with court action. Like, was gaining full custody in this situation absolutely necessary? Probably not. Like, Cody wasn't trying to fight for custody of the children. He can barely look after himself. The kids have to go somewhere. So why would you go through the process, number one, of trying to battle him in court? We don't know all the details. Who knows? I'm not trying to dismiss it. I just need you to know where we don't know yet. But it started there. The more that she wanted to get on with her life in that sense, and she found Daniel during this process where she was still visiting, and it was still, far past the relationship in that sense, but it sounded like things were going all right. They weren't estranged by that point. The more time went on that she was with Daniel, the more that she felt awkward being there. I don't think that was a natural thing for her. Like, it seems like she's buying into the rationale of the person who's it's inconveniencing. Like, it was legitimate in the first place. Like, she doesn't have a backbone in that sense. Yeah, Tambourine and Belinda told him to come along for visits, and he refused. He didn't even want to try. Well, it's fine, you can refuse, but don't get sore when it happens. I mean, it's a window into the illogical framework of their early relationship. It has to do with making time to do things and prioritizing them into your schedule. Yeah, you remember old Danny boy letting everybody know that the only rugs in the house were Malaya's, suggesting that he was now remember, it's coming from him, but he's suggesting that she's also a user. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that that's too far off. But that just makes a whole lot worse the situation that's already going on there. Sandra's saying it would have been a huge hassle for her to go visit. Then she'd have to deal with Daniel's questioning when she got home. Perhaps. So the way that they frame it, these things that Malaya suggests about the conflict and the physicality between Daniel and herself happened often. It's not just a one-off. She's using the term sometimes in it, right? So it was probably all the time, every time. Like, it got to the point where she would have to go and ignore everybody else just to go and call her family. Like, what do you think all of those calls were really about when things like that are going on? You shouldn't have to think too hard or deeply. She's in a shitty situation. They're probably telling her that, she needs to get out of it. So how much of the truth, the whole truth, does Cindy and everybody know? They know enough, obviously. They've seen enough. But there's probably a whole lot more that they don't know. Not that it's necessary. I can't make excuses for Malaya, says Lori Green, if the kids were... Yeah. It's looking that way. They were all being abused in that sense. It's all been a problem. Listen, people are talking all about, and I appreciate the conversation about this dog. But I can't figure out for the life of me how it would... Reality is stranger than fiction in that sense. And I'm open to it, no doubt. But it would seem to me that if the dog was out and loose and got a hold of 2 children that are now missing, and I'm assuming that people are trying to attribute somehow that the dog, whether it was this off-colored aggressive breed, somehow unalived the children. I have a hard time believing that happened because of it would make no sense in the moment to all of a sudden decide that you're going to get rid of bodies and cover up this huge crime because because of a dog attack. Now that's a pretty fucking feisty fighting dog there, Michael Vick. If it's just going to go straight for the jugular and cut off their ability to breathe oxygen in that sense to the point of death, which probably would be, it's hard to say, 5 minutes. I don't even want to put a number on it, but my point to all of it is if there was a dog attack, there was 3 adults around that would have and should have heard the aggression take place. You would think that now, mind you, the crime scene is cleaned up by this point, by the time they called RCMP. But what I'm saying is I can't see that. I can't see it happening because it wouldn't warrant, it would be an emergency situation. Call the police here. Call the ambulance. We've got hurt individuals. Like, at what point did you decide that the kids were deceased in some sort of dog attack? I can't in this situation. I'm not putting 2 and 2 together, even though, listen, I'm sure that Janie switched the dogs. She probably did switch the dogs. Why is the question. But I just can't automatically think the reason for that is because the dogs are somehow the ones who took the lives of 2 children outside in the backyard or in the driveway, and that they decided as the best course of action to go and hide the bodies and lie to police and carry on and conspire and bring in other people to save their own heinies. For what would they be saving their heinies from? That would be a stupid decision even for somebody who was under the influence. It makes no sense to me. They're culpable. They did something. That's why they're covering their asses, because of their personal culpability, their personal actions and whatever happened. Yeah, if the dog did it, they'd have no problem blaming the dog, would they, Meredith? I'm not trying to... And maybe other people are thinking it from a different standpoint, or just the fact that they're pointing out another lie and another pattern-worthy deceptive tactic by Janie. I don't know, but Maybe the dog has something to do with it. Maybe it doesn't, but it wouldn't make any sense to me. Like, it doesn't seem like it's just that easy. And it's just overactive imaginations. There's nothing wrong with that. But these individuals would act a whole lot different in that sense. There would be a reason for the children's death. Not a reason to then go and commit just as worse of a felony afterwards. The only reason that you go and risk that next felony is because you know how guilty you are and you're trying to get away with it and plan on it. You plan on lying for as long as it takes until they prove otherwise. That's your stick to it script. Nobody ever questions the scratch on Daniel's face in those first days of Jack and Lily went missing and is now a scar. Yeah, the ones in the picture, Tina. Could be from Malaya too. Yeah, we don't know. Could just as well be from a branch. He's out there wandering around in a bush tweaking. Like, it's just another lie that we've caught Janie in. But I get the understanding that she's trying to pass off the dog. She's trying to pass off Fluffy, Tucker, as like the dog in the CBC interview as the dog that was there that day. And she's kind of insinuated that after the fact. Now, to me, that should be an easy thing to discern for a police, because you were the responding officer. You would know the dog that was there when you arrived. So was that the same as Tucker's? You know, you don't really know. We don't know. They do. So that answer is out there. And listen, I don't doubt that it was a different dog. Not at all. I don't doubt it whatsoever. And it just goes to show you how brash old Janie is and what it is that she's trying to present to us. Like, listen, the whole point, that whole interview that she asked the CBC to come over and film her denying any involvement and talking all about herself and where exactly she was standing that day is a huge fucking blunder. Only we don't recognize it as such now because of where we are in the case. But listen, it looks a certain way because it is a certain way. Let me read this. Let me start. The mother of Jack and Lily Sullivan, the missing Nova Scotia children who disappeared more than 8 months ago, told police in the early stages of the investigation that her common-law partner had, at times, been physically violent with her in the home. Newly unsealed court documents show. We've been talking about that for quite some time here on this particular channel. Little Barry Horowitz pat on my back. When the RCMP major crimes investigators asked the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, whether her then common-law partner, very specific there at this point, very specific common-law partner, Daniel. When they asked Malaya whether her then common-law partner, that douchebag Daniel Martell, was physically abusive, she alleged that he would try to block her, hold her down, and once he pushed her. This is how they start off the article. Oh shit. Danny, it's not looking very good for you. So police wrote this in an application to request records to help with their investigation into the missing children. She said she would also take her phone from when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt, end quote. She said, they got that parentheses in the wrong place. I found a little error here. She said he would also take her phone from her when she tried to call her mom, which would sometimes be physical and hurt. Sometimes. Like there is more than 2 or 3 occasions to compare from. That fucking happened all the time then. Mr. Martell, however, Mr. Martell. Oh, finally some respect. No, it's not respect. They're finally referring to him as Mr., something that he's always wanted. Mr. Martell, however, told police that the former couple yelled at each other when fighting. And he told a bunch of people online, we've got that screenshot somewhere in the back, about how physical Malaya was being and hitting him, and it was her that was abusive towards him, but he didn't want to talk about it because men like Daniel just don't do that. Men like Daniel. Fuck, please. Mr. Martell, however, told police that the former couple yelled at each other when fighting, but there was no physical violence. The court documents show he also told police that they had recently been fighting about money. Money. Oh. Money. Get back. Let's see. Take me to the next one. Mr. Martell denied the account of physical abuse that Mrs. Brooks Murray gave to police. They're even acknowledging an account of physical abuse. Well, that's going to be tough to get past. Take it up with the Globe and Mail, bitch. I'll have to go run into the Drunk Turkey show to make him feel better. Mr. Martell denied the account of physical abuse that Mrs. Brooks Murray gave to police. I did not ever ABUSC Mrs. Brooks Murray, he wrote in a text message to the Globe and Mail. I did not ever. Did not ever. I did not ever. Why don't you just say no? Give a reliable denial for once, you stupid ass. I did not ever ABUSC Mrs. Brooks Murray, he wrote in a text message to the Globe and Mail. He described the allegation as a personal attack that unfairly casts suspicion over him when he's been the only one raising awareness about Jack and Lily. Are you sure about that? He's been the only one raising awareness about Jack and Lily. He's telling that to the Globe and Mail. No, he's the only one who's not. There's so many people out here talking about it, so many creators. I don't think they're having a real problem with word getting out about Jack and Lily. They talk about awareness. This awareness term to these fools has a completely different meaning than it does to you. If I remain in the public eye as a monster, the public's choice is guilty until proven innocent, ! They even have that in the article here. That's Daniel texting the Globe and Mail, adding that neither he nor his family had anything to do with the disappearance of these children. If I remain in the public eye as a monster, the public's choice is guilty until proven innocent. There's a sensitivity in there. Dude, that's round, globular. That's as ambiguous as Prince. If I remain in the public eye as a monster, the public's choice is guilty until proven innocent. Fuck, man. I should have just microdosed before I got live. I should have did some mushrooms or something. This dude, adding that neither he nor his family had anything to do with the children's disappearance. Why don't you define that over in your channel there, drinking turkey? The abuse allegation has not been tested in court. And Mr. Martell has not been charged with any offense. Yet. No, that's true, but remind me again about the reason why we're here reading this. Yeah, it has everything to do with Daniel. The documents show that Miss Brooks Murray, that's Malaya, told police about the alleged ABUSE during her fifth statement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Almost a week after she broke up with this fruitcake and moved away with her toddler. Their toddler. I'm out here protecting Meadow. See, I'm protecting them from the Children's Aid. What's 3? Let's see here. The allegations were recently unsealed after a legal application by the Globular Mail and CBC to a Nova Scotia judge to release more info concerning the early stages of the investigation of this particular disappearance. Oh, yeah, just pat yourselves on the back. Let's see. Yes, all praise the paper. Let's see. Yeah, I just read all that. Hold on, we'll have to go to number 5. Just a sec. Near. The documents show that Mrs. Brooks Murray told police about the alleged ABUSE during their fifth statement. We talked about that. The allegations, information concerning. Fuck, go to 6. Holy mackerel! What was I doing? What was I doing when I took these? The morning of May 2nd, Mrs. Brooks Murray called 911 around 10 a.m. to report that they had wandered away while she and Mr. Martell were sleeping. Oh, yes. With their toddler at home in the remote hamlet of Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. A massive search led by the RCMP turned up few clues. Police have been tight-lipped about the case. However, they recently explained that a large volume of information they've gathered is helping form pictures of what may have taken place. Oh, what? They declined to share their theories. Oh yeah, everything's on the table, baby. You know what that means. In the early stages of the investigation, the RCMP made 12 applications in court under the Missing Persons Act. But those applications were sealed by court order. At the request of the media outlets, the RCMP consented to release some information in August, but redacted significant portions of the affidavits. The Globe and Mail and CBC went back to court to argue in favor of lifting more of the redactions, and the RCMP consented to releasing more, but not all of the information in their records. Holy shit, you're talking like Daniel there. Now, one of the reasons cited by the RCMP for maintaining the redactions is the possibility that the investigation could turn criminal and that the release of such information could compromise an investigation. Isn't that the same thing Daniel likes to walk around talking about? Yes. One of the reasons cited by the RCMP for maintaining the redactions, we read this, when an investigation is ongoing, it is difficult to know what information, if made public, would compromise future investigative steps. Well, at this stage, we do not have reasonable grounds to believe a crime has been committed. that assessment could change as we move forward with our investigation. That's going to move forward when all of the pieces and the information that they have out come back. Yeah, this is what the RCMP Corporal Charlene Curl, C-U-R-L, in a January 8 affidavit said. Now, Corporal Curley said in the document, the RCMP continues to explore all avenues and are leveraging technologically based investigative police techniques. Oh yeah, I like this Corporal Curley. She knows what she's talking about. You know what that means? It means that they're taking screenshots and they're watching Danny. Nothing's off the table. Leveraging technologically based investigative police techniques. Well, what do you think that you're listening to here now is? This is the technology-based investigative technique. Should they be listening, big shout out, but they're not. What they're looking for is pertinent information, things that just pop up that paint a better picture for police as to what exactly is going on. Kind of like timestamp 2711 of Darren Getty's phone call to Sonny Austin. Corporal Curl said in the document the RCMP continue to explore all avenues and are leveraging. Ooh, really getting behind. Leveraging technologically based investigative police techniques, which may provide information to support criminality. Oh, and uncover the whereabouts of the missing children. That's definitely a need to know. The newly released information shows that investigators were focused on learning about the home life of Jack and Lily in the early stages of their relationship. Now, isn't that just the same gosh darn thing that we've been focusing on here for the past 8 months? The things that we didn't know, and of course that they were unredacted, but of course we put them together. Not that that's very difficult to do. You didn't have to be Kreskin to see what the hell is going on here. Who the fuck is this? You calling me a what? A see you next Tuesday isn't very unprofessional. We don't know who you are, number one. Let me help you. See you, bitch. Spam. Coming here spamming like I'm calling you a see you next Tuesday, like I know you, like I interact with people like that to begin with. I'll call it to you up here for sure if I knew who you were. You probably are one. I'll see my way out. Like she's walking out, like she's that person, that virtue signaler, you know, at a comedy club that has to make it known that they're walking out because they don't like the stylings of the comedian. And that's just, too bad. I'm so heartbroken. I can't believe you unsubscribed. Something tells me that you're not, though. And you won't. Something drew you here. You were attracted to the stylings of this comedian in the first place. You came in here and you listened for almost an hour. That's not even a good troll move, dude. It's not even a good troll move. Tambourine. Hold on. Yeah, you're talking about Malaya keeping the kids out of school because Lily had a black eye? Maybe Malaya didn't send the kids to school, Fire Horse is saying. Maybe MVM didn't send the kids to school Thursday because she had an afternoon appointment in NG and didn't want Janie to look after them as they wouldn't be back in time to get them off the bus. I don't think that Janie's the first person that you would go to if you needed a babysitter to begin with. Do you need a little reminder? Hello, hi, Janie.
No, I'm sorry. Malaya would be the only one that would have any up-to-date pictures of Jack.
There you go. Do you think that she would be the first choice to ask to babysit? Like, she didn't even want to part with Meadow to go look for the kids that she called to the RCMP. She's the one who made the call. She's in on the plan. She was made to be in on this. It was intentionally made to be confusing. It's not very good. It's a desperate, really, if you want to refer to it as their script, because that's what it is at this point, I guess, after we dissect it. We can refer to it as that. But their story. Yeah, Ginger, how do we know anyone had a black eye? Exactly. I don't talk about it because Daniel's the one that introduced it to begin with on Wednesday. He's just trying to normalize the kids having a black eye to begin with. Gets you away from talking about whatever, because it's a good measurement for him on who picks up on whatever it is that he says and how. Like, it's like firing off a probe out into space in that sense, and you're gathering all kinds of information, everything that he says. He's pussyfooting. Of course you're guilty, Daniel. Did anybody ever doubt it? That's what you mean? She didn't want Janie to hear the kids?
Jack and Lily. 3, I am all done with this one. 3, searchers came and searched this trailer. And then I heard afterwards that Malaya let people in here to search the trailer. So this trailer was searched twice on Friday.
Then I heard Malaya. Malaya let people in to search. How dare you? Danny is doing the Hillbilly two-step, Ginger. To be honest, I'd probably choose Pennywise over Janie. Yeah, from It. Oh my God. That's a good one. That is pretty much on line with the real-life monster. What makes her a monster is the fact that she's so deceptive, for lack of a better word. She's so deceptive and lying all the time, and so forward and aggressive with her lies, and unconvincing, but almost to the point of intimidating the listener into nodding their head yes, just to get on with things. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Listen, I wouldn't lie to you. You have to believe me. She sounds like, what was his name? Anyway. Why does Janie cry when she talks about her sons but not about Jack and Lily? Well, she's just trying to come across as emotional. It's a ploy. It's a hook to get somebody else. You walked up onto somebody just crying uncontrollably. It has a natural way of sucking you in. It's like, crying in front of animals or things like this, or playing dead. They have a natural reaction to it. Not many people recognize it in the moment. I don't doubt that she has much of a problem for the type of individual that she is to draw on some sort of basic primitive emotion, the sheer emotion and desperation that she desires not to lose her freedom in life and be exposed as the liar that she is. There's a lot of emotion you can draw from that. Her emotion doesn't have anything to do with Jack and Lily. She doesn't refer to the scenario or a Jack Lily centric scenario. That's her heart don't lie voice, Sandra. You're not far off.
And it was searched again on Sunday morning because Officer Mason came with 3 people, and she asked me to take my dog out of the camper, which I did, and they searched this trailer. And as I said, they even looked in my washer spinner. So yes, this trailer RV was searched. And as I said about the cupboard, I have no cupboards in my trailer because I renovated it. And if they searched my trailer, if I did have a cupboard in here, they would have searched it. So there is no drugs, there is no guns, there is no sex toys of any kind in any cupboard.
Oh, I don't even like the thought of sex toys and Janie, let alone her mentioning it, introducing it to us. Oh my God.
So, does that answer your question for the second time?
Drugs, guns, and sex toys, Calio G. What the hell is going on up in here? It's never somebody good looking, is it?
Here, be nice in the chat, or I end this conversation right now. The lady that was asking me questions, I wish she continue answering me questions.
Ooh, emotional blackmail.
If not, I am done.
You better be nice or I'm out of here. She's doing you all a favor. How else can you explain it? She really gives herself away often, doesn't she? For the amount of lying you do, you think you would be a better. You would know when to shut up. Yeah, but it's like she doesn't have that off button. It's like it's usually you lie for a reason. You don't continue to lie and lie and lie and lie to the point of exposure. It's like a series motor spinning out of control. Zoom! Like a top.
When she is done asking me questions, you guys can comment all you want. I have nothing to hide. I lost everything in my life. So,
the hell is that?
After I'm done with talking and telling my side of the story, the truth, if you want to comment and say whatever you want, believe me, I do not care.
So what was the point of going into that whole this and that, you need to do this and that or you're leaving if you don't care about anything? Why was it even brought up in the first place? Enoch says, victim, please. She's so contradictory. So why was Justin bawling his eyes out when he was sitting on the four-wheeler? Your guess is as good as mine, Brian, but it probably had something to do. Maybe it was like a chain reaction thing. All of this fake crying. Maybe it was a signal to everybody just to start fake crying. Running around and pretending to be unconsolable. Yeah, why? There has to be a reason why the fuck you're crying, and it has nothing to do with Janie wants you to think after the fact, like months after the fact. She's had time to think about it. Oh, this was the reason. Oh, the Jays lost in 12 innings. Oh, shit. Yeah, contagious like yawning. Puking. Daniel said when they weren't brother and sister, they were like best friends. Best friends who continuously beat each other with Tonka trucks. That never happened. I don't believe it.
I'm telling you guys, if you don't believe me, that's your problem or your opinion. If you want to give a comment, I am all done with this once I.
So talk about a contrast right there. That's your problem and your opinion. That's a veiled threat, really. That's just like, listen, you can't have both ways. There's no point in even bringing it up in the first place then. If you're going to take both sides of the argument, you can't have both sides. You talk about it because you're on one side or the other. She wants to be everything to everybody. She's avoiding any sort of linguistic commitment to anything, to the point she can't stop. She can't stop. She needs somebody to stop for her. Just accidentally hang up the phone and that's it. Don't say anything else. Jesus Christ. Could you imagine her karaoke singing Total Eclipse of the Heart? She's got that perfect rasp. Or Call Me by Blondie, tambourine. I don't know. I could probably see more like Gigi Allen and the Murder Junkies.
Talk to you guys.
Fuck Your Warrants. You know that song? Google Fuck Your Warrants by Gigi Allen and the Murder Junkies. That's probably Janie's best bet of a career that way. I think they're twins.
No, I thought everything was going well with Daniel and Malaya. I have never seen them fight. I've never really seen them arguing. When I was in there, I'm not sure about what happens when I'm not there, as I told the reporters, and I'm telling you guys, I live in the RV, they live in the trailer. I let them have their personal space, they let me have my personal space. The only difference I seen in Malaya that day of the disappearance is when I saw her outside and she was standing there holding Meadow, and I had to ask her what was up, and she told me that Jack and Lily were missing, and I asked her how long. That's the only behavior difference that I seen in Malaya.
But there was one problem with the script. The people in the script didn't act as though the time frames, again, it's so basically simple in this sense, but on the surface, look, you're telling me that Malaya's standing out there with Meadow on her hip, staring off into space, telling you that the kids are definitely missing when you don't know where the kids are, or you're not supposed to know where the kids are in the first place. So you told us in the statement that you already know something happened to the kids. You can't put the horse before the cart. And it's only been 20 minutes. When even her statement to the police on the dispatch contradicts that by an hour and a half. Just more empty space in the timeline in the hours and minutes leading up to your call to RCMP. And by your call, I mean all three of you lumped into one there. In my opinion, at that point, Malaya knew exactly what it was that she had to say to the RCMP and everybody else. So from that point on, she's guilty of conspiring and an accessory to the conspiracy to cover up. Whatever Daniel did to the kids. Both children. 2 children. Michelle Mybell, whoa, did you hear that leakage? She said, no, I thought everything was going good between Daniel and Justin. Then covered, said Malaya, first time I noticed this. Is that right? I didn't catch that. That's interesting. You heard that as well, Anne? Or Annette? Whatever happened, it messed Justin up. Debbie's saying, whatever happened, it messed Justin up. They probably got him into whatever they did, for his family or mama. Well, yeah, he probably sees all the red flags as well. Maybe he's normal and he's desperately trying to stay away from the suspects in this because he knows too much. Who knows? We don't know. Tammy Worley, she's a control freak. She thought because Malaya lived on her land, she could control her and the kids. Her land, her rules. I believe that as well. But I think it gets a lot worse than that because it's easy to armchair quarterback. It's almost illuminating the obvious in this sense. Not that we're doing anything wrong. It's a good reminder because they're not representing it as life actually was from the standpoint of Jack and Lily and Malaya. Now, you guys caught it, Callie? You wonder if Daniel and Justin had a fight? Yeah, Daniel's a no-go zone for Justin. Maybe he was... maybe he's asking too many of the right questions. Who knows at this point in time? He has to be kept at arm's length because he's not in the loop.
Except for this time that the altercation happened at the end of the driveway, which I have no knowledge about. I didn't...
No, nothing. She's got no knowledge about the altercation that she was involved in at the end of the driveway, but she's going to proceed to tell us all about the altercation in a different manner.
Listen to what I just went up to her and said, please don't tell... She was crying. I said, please don't tell me that Jack and Lily are dead. And then as I said, hey...
Think about that. She comes running up to Malaya and suggests that there's death involved with Jack and Lily at this point in time. Not tell me that you found them, tell me that you found the kids. What's going on? Like, you guys couldn't even sit down, you said, and have a conversation. Now she's calling you on the phone. She called you for a reason, but she can't talk to you over the phone. Not even sure about how you guys are portraying this.
And her friend, I think it was Shelby, I can't be 100% sure, started saying stuff. I wasn't in the mood to listen to arguments. I didn't want to fight because whatever was going on had nothing to do with Jack and Lily.
How do you know? How do you know? You shouldn't even be in the know as to what happened to Jack and Lily. But why is she putting herself in that position again? She's putting herself in a position of knowledge, having guilty knowledge in this sense, dictating what's relevant to whatever happened at that point in time to Jack and Lily. But they're coming from a place of already knowing. And that comes through, and it's unintentional. It comes through their lies and deception. Because at the end of the day, your statements don't make sense in relation to the case that's going on. No matter how much information you know about what's going on or not, it doesn't make your statements any more meaningful. They're absolutely meaningless. filled with double negatives and double talk.
That's when I ordered them off the property. The police came. I gave my statement of what I've done. Other than that, that's the only difference that I've seen in Malaya's, whatever you call it, the personality or whatever she changes. Sorry, in Malaya was that day. Now, this is me, myself. If my children were missing in the woods, or if somebody has taken them, I would be so hysterical. I would be running around, screaming and hollering, looking everywhere, crying, just like a normal person would be, that a mother. You can't tell me that you carry a child for 9 months and something happens to them.
Maybe Daniel's the one who got into Janie's rugs. You guys think of that? That's how he got hooked. Because he was dipping into Janie's medicine cabinet. And it just happened to be an illicit medicine cabinet.
That you're not going to get hysterical and you're not going to be crying and screaming and everything. Well, tell me. I would be. And another thing, I'm going to tell you something now.
She's just so eager for everybody. She's trying to put onto everybody this judgment, and then turning around and saying, don't judge me like I just judged Malaya several times in this statement. Nobody's here to judge. We judge your honesty. That's fair. Has nothing to do with judging anybody in this point in time. And why would you be afraid of judgment in that sense? Look at what you're fucking living in. You don't like to be judged, and you keep bringing up that particular term, but that's exactly what you're doing to Malaya and putting that onto everybody else like it's a normal thing.
Happened to my children, my boys, I would be so hysterical, even though they're 34 and 33. I would still be hysterical if something happened to them. Even
I would be hysterical. Malaya's not hysterical, therefore she's a bad person somehow. No. Maybe her emotions don't match the actual scenario that's being presented there, honey baby.
though they're growing up, Mama will always be a part of their lives, no matter how old they are. And Mama feels for those kids. I don't care if I'm 85 years old and my kid is 60-some years old, I am still going to worry about my children. And I am still going to cry for my children. So you just look at what I've seen and what you've seen on the tape of Malaya's interview. Does that look like a woman that misses her children?
Imagine crying and bawling your eyes out talking about how nasty and bad Malaya is at this point in time. She's mixing emotions, she's mixing things up and still like trying to pass off as though she's overly emotional. That's so ridiculous. Cut. Other information in the documents that is still sealed relates to the wording of questions asked of Jack and Lily's parents and others during polygraph tests. Corporal Curl said she anticipates more people will be asked to do a polygraph test, and if the exact wording is released, it could seriously risk the integrity of the results of any further tests. You know what's really interesting about all of this is that we are now introduced to the new corporal of the RCMP, the hard-ass corporal, the one that has to be the bearer of bad news. They're not so friendly with all of the suspects in that sense. This Corporal Curl is talking real shit. She's talking all about the future, where things are going, where things are headed, without directly stating them. Introduced several interesting things. The RCMP and Mrs. Brooks Murray also opposed releasing highly personal information that pertain to Mrs. Brooks Murray and Mr. Martell's relationship, parenting, and financial situation. Yeah, we know why you don't want anybody looking at it. We can speculate as to why. You just gave us our answer right there. That was easy. We can just imagine. Corporal Curl wrote that despite intense media coverage and fantastic social media speculations, the highly personal information, to the best of her knowledge, hasn't been made public or confirmed by either Miss Brooks or Mr. Martell. Ooh, I wonder what it could be. She doesn't get much fucking worse than this. Here's a very important quote, as minute as you may think it is. We want people who may be witnesses, like Malaya, to feel comfortable coming forward and sharing information with us to assist investigations without fear that everything they say may become public, she wrote. Meaning that if things were to get too specific and they're to come out in the public, it kind of fucks things up in that sense. In other words, everything that we speculate on, everything that actually has to do with the circumstance, shouldn't be made public, not just because it's going to hurt her feelings. One, it would be out of their control and cause possible harm that's unfair to the people involved at such an early stage, without knowing where you're really going to go with this in the first place. It's not a trick. It makes sense. Have all of the information. There's only going to be so many choices with what it is that we publicly know at this point. The RCMP, or Corporal Curl, wrote that despite intense media coverage and social media speculation, the highly personal information, to the best of her knowledge, hasn't been made public or confirmed by either Malaya or Daniel. We want people who may be witnesses to feel comfortable. I think it represents where they are in the case with Malaya right there. They wanted the public to know, and this was speaking on behalf, and they wanted to make it look like they care for Malaya in that sense. It's part of their rapport building with a very important individual in this case as to telling us what actually happened. That way we can see contradictions in what's already out there. And she doesn't want all of that to be made public in that sense necessarily. We don't need it to be, but you can see where that's going. They want Malaya to feel comfortable. That's the most important witness at this point in time. Now, maybe I'm speaking a little bit too early, but I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't have been Malaya that chose to get physical or violent in this situation, unless it was trying to protect her kids. And even then, I don't know. I don't know her well enough yet. In my opinion, it still looks like Daniel has brought upon some sort of violence to end the lives of a 4 and a 6-year-old.
Please, Jack and Lily started, and I'm still a hermit. Oh, there's one thing that I forgot to mention. On my interview, and I'll tell you now, on my interview about the sliding door, the lady that did the interview, her name is Allie, very nice lady, She was the one that opened the door. I asked her to do it for me so everybody wouldn't think that I was doing something to disrupt this investigation, or people saying, oh, she opened it up lightly, or she did this, or she did that. I got Allie to open the door twice. So, she was the one that opened up the door.
Oh, and I also in my interview told them that if they want to come take up my driveway, or if they want to come lift my trailer.
Now she's got a mouthful of like probably pie or some cheap ass thing from the grocery store. And she's talking with their mouth full, talking about missing kids.
Or lift the RV, or anything they wanted to do. They were more than welcome to come and do it. I have nothing to hide. The kids are not here on this property. But they did put a drone underneath underneath the trailer. They had an army guy come in with this great big drone that they use.
See, it's interesting, and it's becoming a bit of a pattern how she flips in and out of specificity. Here she states that the kids aren't here on this property. Like, that's very specific in all of the places that the kids probably are. Clearly, everybody can see the kids aren't on that property. We can see that. We saw that May 2nd. Clearly, Janie, you're subconsciously referring to whatever happened to Jack and Lily. You're, again, insinuating death indirectly and stating that the kids aren't there on that property, which is probably true. I trust the teams from the RCMP in that sense. Where did you take the children? Where did you hide them? Because that's what you've done. You've taken them and you've hidden them, just like Durwood said. But you've taken them not alive. You've taken them deceased, and now you're pretending that the kids just wandered off, never to be seen again, in the middle of absolute nowhere.
And they put it underneath the trailer, and I offered to go underneath the trailer with a flashlight to show them that Jack and Lily weren't under there, and they said no, that they could get under there with the drone. And I'm not here for you guys to feel sorry for me. I'm just here to tell the truth. You guys have your own opinion of me.
That's exactly why she's there. She's looking for a little bit of sympathy. That's why she's always wondering and asking why people aren't coming to console her at any point in time when she needs them. It's continuously just normalizing, overlooking their roles in all of this, no matter if they're directly culpable or not. Even if, listen, people feel worse if they can't find their keys, if their cats go missing. If they're in proximity of children, these normal human beings are so emotionally affected by it, they're in awe. Not Janie, she's got all of the answers. But everything that she has to say speaks directly to herself, as opposed to really anything that's actually relevant to two children who are now missing. Drifting in and out of sleep. You're the ones who introduced this drifting in and out of sleep as though it's a legit defense, especially in an investigation. It's fairly ambiguous in that sense. It's a non-answer. Especially, Danny, when you come to social media immediately afterwards and contradict yourself almost non-stop. This isn't right. The kids' clothes are different. flawed logic nonstop, trying to convince stupid people of something even stupider. Uranus, Jupiter, stupider. Nick, wasn't she just crying now she has her mouth full while she's speaking? Yeah, that's right, Nick. Eating makes her feel better, especially when she's stuck out there in that fucking RV. Totally normal, isn't it? Telling everybody that's there to listen to her to be nice or she's leaving. Diana Ross here. She's like one of those Furbies that talks and opens their eyes, Tam says. Oh shit. On your way to the washroom and scares the heck out of you. I sent my sons back to his father's place. It creeped me out. Janie needs to think hard. 3 meals a day, shared cell, psychological warfare. The person that spills first gets some slack. Hold out and it won't end well. There's no fucking possible way. Here's the thing. You sit this woman down in an interview room, you best be prepared to make some arrests afterwards. You can't just have it where you're going to pull them in on a Tuesday and see what they say and come to a determination. When you come in the second time, you already have, and you're anticipating that they're not going home as an officer, as a detective. You know what your direction is going to be. You know why you're pressing them. Because you're blowing apart their story, and that's going to happen in a matter of hours at some point in time. When all of the pieces that they talked about come together and the information comes together to paint a more complete picture of the picture they've already referenced, that's when that time will be. All of our current trauma and frustration is centric around simply the fact that most of us are happy not knowing the law. And unfortunately, once you get to learn it a little bit and the reasons why, you feel a little better as to why there haven't been straight up arrests yet in this sense. It's out of our control because the guilty parties, the people that are responsible, are one, lying and trying to cover up their tracks, and have covered up any smoking gun direct evidence that they're culpable in this. So they're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. Doesn't mean they're not going to do it, but it's going to end up just like Trezell and Jacqueline. They'll come picking them up, and like I said, it's going to be with the SWAT team. If they ever... that's my fantasy. I should correct myself. It's probably going to happen when they sit down for an interview and question Janie, because Janie's not going to have anything that makes any sense to the rational or the rationale behind the things that she's publicly stated. Everything that she has said is going to be used against her. Everything, whether it was directly to the RCMP or to the CBC at this point or online, it's going to be used against her, and she doesn't have any context because it's all a bullshit story. She knows she's fucking lying. They gave Janie just enough rope, and that's what she's done. And she's done it her way. Tambourine says, Annette, I found it interesting in the pictures from the garage fire. You mean from Kent's? There was an RV that looked like Janie's in the parking lot. KC probably sent it over there for parts, in my opinion, allegedly. That's really interesting and funny. Doesn't surprise me. Kent's probably puked all over the inside of that RV multiple times. Well, they've got to coax Malaya in building that case against Daniel in that sense. I think they're hoping that they get more information in the long run and build just a rapport with Malaya that's going to be beneficial to her no matter what. Like, even though she has a history and there's going to be a lot of armchair quarterbacking about all of the things that she could have done, nobody deserves the way that she was treated, and Jack and Lily didn't deserve what happened to them. And that was in full control of Daniel and Janie. I don't like it any more than anybody else does. But you can see exactly the type of treatment that Malaya, they're not even trying to hide it. Think about the things that we don't know. Think about all of the shit talk that they say to the people in their lives behind Malaya's back. And, you know, Malaya and the kids are centric to all of the problems on that particular household on Garlock Road there. Money, where they're living, how they're going to pay for it, what they're going to be doing. They've got a new baby. A new baby is expensive, even when you don't have any money. Let alone you try to keep up with society. Problem with what Malaya walked into is it's a difficult situation because she's probably being promised the world from Daniel, and she gets absolutely no help. She doesn't get any help from fucking Daniel, nothing from Janie. In fact, worse, she gets called all of these names and treated like a second-class citizen. How long is this going to fucking go on for? That's really weighing on what and how her outlook is on the future. Daniel doesn't think it's right. He thinks it's okay to blend families from chicks that you meet on Facebook dating. Shack up with them almost instantly. Completely disregard the kids. You're blending a family. You're walking into somebody else's family in that sense as a single person, Daniel. You don't walk in and try to control the scenario, but you did, and that's where Meadow comes in. You've got her pregnant now. You think that her priorities need to be in a certain place, as though you're Mr. Judge telling her just how much she let Jack and Lily fall by the wayside. And in the same breath, tell everybody how much of a special bond you and Jack and Lily have, and that you're the only one that they listen to. Such a deviant thing to say. You're a degenerate, a weirdo, a person who doesn't value the family sect. It's like listening to the devil. Oh, Robin, listen. Fuck, I couldn't even imagine. Who could live in that RV when it looks nothing more than a meth lab? When did she decide to renovate? And what did she do? She had to get rid of most of the stuff because it was rotten. You have to get rid of the shit that's breaking down inside. So it's a big space. She put a fucking wood stove in there, and that's fine. It probably stinks. Stinks to high heaven. You know how that old car smells? Think about it with all kinds of like decades old of mold and mildew and trapped moisture. Nicotine stains in there from fucking 1984. Dog piss, dog shit. Fermented. Not to mention the rats are breeding in the fucking walls. Got rat placenta stinking up the joint.
I have nothing to say about that. I'm just here to tell the truth. I want Lily and Jack found, and that's all I want.
Can I clear something up about the four-wheeler? Justin and I were the ones driving on the four-wheeler, but we picked Daniel up around the pipeline. Justin and I went up around the pipeline, and we were going through an old road, and we seen Daniel, and Daniel got on the bike, and he sat on front of the bike until we get back to the pipeline.
She goes into this huge, extravagant story. Only like, oh, he said this, I said this, only to tell you like the people just said no. Like there's no sense in going through this whole uneventful story if there was no point to it in the first place. If the people just said no, you know, there's a much easier way to get your point across rather than have just stood there for like what seemed like 3 minutes to listen to Janie tell the CBC what she did out there in the bush when Daniel was coming through the back and he asked her if he saw the kids. Well, do you see the fucking kids around, bitch? No. Self-answering question. Stupid. Think about all. I walked up to Malaya, said, "What's up?" Like, what? Get the fuck out of here. First of all, Janie is the type to be screaming from the RV. Probably took her from one of her games of Candy Crush. What's going on out there? Keep it down. You just going to come out and walk up to somebody in a friendly manner, a person that you despise, and say, "What's up? What's up, Buttercup?" What, like this is another episode of Friends? 90210, maybe Melrose Place? I used to love Melrose Place back in the 90s.
And we dropped him off with some of his friends, and then Justin and I took off back home. So Daniel was on the bike.
Brandy, Lindy, you're not kidding.
Sitting on the...
Brandy, I do not think Malaya knew what she was getting herself into when she moved there, in your opinion. Listen. Well, of course she didn't. Of course she didn't. Think about how your day would change if you had to all of a sudden change where you lived just for a moment. Stop what it is that you're doing. Sit down, breathe in, breathe out. Imagine you're on a warm beach in the Mediterranean, listening to the waves. Now imagine for a moment that if you had similar problems to Malaya and Danny, you had to all of a sudden move into the RV with Janie. Daniel knows how fucking annoying she is. Daniel knows what she's like. But he's got no other choice. And he's got to get the hell out of here with Patty and whoever's up in that house. Ain't living here no more. Because Patty wants Daniel to start doing his duty as a man, taking care of the family. Taking care of his family and stop leeching off the kids' milk money every fucking month because he doesn't work. He just sits around and mooches and fucks around, does meth all the time. Jerks off in the bathroom for hours on end. So he's got to go back and live with Janie. It's not the best, but he's got to make the best of it. So what does he got to do? Old Faithful. He's got to lie to her. Oh, my mom's just such a fantastic grandmother. It's such a loving home. Oh, on paper, in theory, it's actually Garlock Road's not a bad place. I wouldn't mind a nice place on Garlock Road, like a nice little house or a little a cabin or something like that. It's not a bad place to live. It's cool. Living out in the country can be cool. But not this fucking place. And it has everything to do with what they've turned it into, a meth paradise. It's like tweaker geographic out here. They fucked it all up. It's not a nice home. It's not a happy home. It's not a place where children would feel comfortable opening up and really exploring what the world has to offer. There's too many other things occurring in their house that cause them to be stressed out. And it has everything to do with this screaming banshee named Janie McKenzie, who's put out into the RV because she doesn't like Malaya, Jack, or Lily. And it has everything to do with, maybe that's what the dog has to do with things. She couldn't have the dog in the house because it was too aggressive. The dog, not Tucker, but the other one, we think. We'll come to learn over time, because that's going to be an answer that's going to be easy when video comes out, when we can see what the responding officers walked up on and things like that. Now think for a moment, friends. What do you think would be the major interrupter, the interrupting factor of any of your day, your otherwise peaceful day, your happy, loving day, trying to enjoy it with the kids, watching some cartoons, making dinner, just sweeping up, cleaning, keeping the kitchen, maybe getting some laundry together, doing some household chores, and all of a sudden this nasty old fucking hag walks in your door like the boogeyman and starts bossing people around, taking a shit in the bathroom. It's like, listen, it's her house, and that's what she's going to treat it like. She goes out of her way to let us know her methodology or her mindset that, oh, what takes place in the RV is their business. She's the one who brings all of that up. And she's a known fucking liar, and she's lied every step of the way. She's lying about that too, and that's completely contradictory to their nature. She knows everything that goes on, because just because you've got maybe an eighth of an inch thick aluminum siding between you and the outside doesn't mean that you can't hear each and every word and sound carrying. And I'm not talking about Lily screaming. I'm talking about the yelling matches that you guys get into, all of the shit, because Malaya would be under immense amount of pressure because of the ongoing lies and deception. And come to find out, you're a hardcore tweaker on the daily. There's where all the money goes. So not only are you leeching off her for all of the Jack and Lily's money every month, it's like that's what you don't want to let go, that lifestyle that's enabled you to sit around and do fucking nothing and get high and eat every single day. And when Malaya starts having her problems, that's when problems arise, because it disrupts your immediate lifestyle in that sense, tweaker. You're not bringing any money in. How are you contributing to the household in this sense? In Janie's name, are you going to take credit and steal clout from Janie donating your house temporarily? You had to move there, and she's going to be on you. She's the one who brought up that you guys argue and you're in a dire straits. You're having a hard time financially. Yeah, with Daniel there, you're having a hard time financially. Not when it's just Malaya and the kids. She's got enough there to rent a place at retail without any help from the reservation or Patty, should she get her shit together. But as soon as Daniel's part of the equation, that's when the bank account drains, because he's reckless in his spending. It's going all towards all things related to those substances. It's almost snack time here. 1 second, I gotta grab a snack.
Front of the bike, so there was me, Justin, and Daniel on the bike. He was sitting on the front of it. But Justin and I had the bike out all day. I'm fine. I just went through your comments to see if there's any questions you had to ask, and I just wanted to clear that up. I just want to say, Daniel has done so many interviews, and to tell you the truth, if I was in his place, I'd be so confused, because People have been asking me so many questions, and it's just, I don't know how anybody that has been interviewed keep everything straight. Like, I think a little things get twisted and everything, but you got to understand, we're all under a lot of pressure here. All this was put on us, or especially on Daniel, because Malaya's not opening her mouth, and Daniel's taking all the backlash for this. So if it was Malaya Malaya opened her mouth, just how much backlash she would get. So you got to cut Daniel a little slack here, guys. He did not use the ATV all the time of the search. It was me and Justin. And as I said, we picked Daniel up on an old road. We went up the pipeline, Justin and I did, and we picked Daniel up on an old road. So Daniel did not use the bike. The only time he was on the bike is when we picked him up on the road. And believe me, it's my four-wheeler, and believe me, I don't let Daniel drive my four-wheeler, believe me. And yes, he is telling the truth. The bike did have a wiring problem because the mice get into it and chewed all the wiring off of it. So that's why it wasn't used neither until it got fixed. I've been looking at the comments.
She's trying to tell us that this has all just been thrown on them. No, you brought this on yourself. That's really what she wants you to believe. Oh, we need to feel sorry for you. On top of everything, too. Oh, that's going to be a hard play. Oh, one second. Does anybody feel sorry for Janie? No.
And if you guys have anything wrong,
You want to cut
don't get
Daniel
mad
some
at me,
slack?
but I will correct
Maybe
you
on the
guys.
hangman's rope, baby. We'll make it a shorter fall.
If you go back at the screenshots that Malaya sent Belinda, you will find the time of when Malaya told Belinda what time she called the 911. It's all in her messages to Belinda. No, Daniel did not drive the ATV. I told you it was Justin and I that were out on the bike all day. We picked Daniel up on the pipeline on an old road. We went up, Justin and I went up the pipeline and we went off on an old road and we found Daniel there. We picked Daniel up. Daniel was sitting on the front of the bike, so there was Justin, me, and Daniel on the bike, and we drove Daniel back to his friends that were on the pipeline, and Justin and I came back home. Well, if you know what a four-wheeler is, it's only big enough for two people. Justin was driving, I was sitting on the back, so we made Daniel sit on the front because there was no room for him to sit on the back with me. Okay, no problem. I'm sorry, people, but I do not accept friends' requests, so please don't send them to me. Is there anything else you want me to clear up? Because I'm going to bed soon, so if you got any questions, ask them now. Okay, I already answered this question. My brother called me at 8:48 and asked me if I wanted to go to town. I said no, I was going back to bed. So I laid back down, I was playing on Facebook, I dozed off. I'm not sure what exactly time. I didn't look at the clock. My dog woke me up. I heard the kids outside. And then I dozed back off again. And the next thing you know, I heard Daniel hollering Jack and Lily's name. Then about maybe 5-10 minutes after I heard him. I'm not sure exact what time because I didn't look at the clock. And when I opened the door, Malaya was standing there in front of the RV. And I said, "What's up?" And she said, "The kids are missing. The kids, Lily and Jack, are gone." And I said, "How long?" She said, "About 20 minutes. I don't know what time I seen Malaya outside because I didn't look at the clock. I came in, I grabbed my boots, and headed up to the woods. So I gave you guys a timeline. 8:48 is when he called me. I dozed off. I don't know exactly what time I heard the kids. And
Actually, you didn't give a timeline. You've talked in circles, avoiding specifics. Whoop! I just closed that out.
according to what, if I read it correctly in the chat between Belinda and Malaya, she said that she called the 911 at about 9:40. So that's what I believe it says. You'd have to check out the conversation between Malaya and Belinda. I'm talking about the discussion between Malaya and Belinda, not the discussion between Malaya and Cindy. Malaya was supposed to tell Belinda, according to her screenshot, that she called 911 at 9:40. The one about between Malaya and Cindy? Is that the one you want me to look at? Okay, there's something I want to ask you guys about the message that you're putting up on the screen about... And here's another thing too. I called my brother at 10:19 to tell him that the kids were missing. And Malaya waited till the time she called her mother to tell her the kids were missing. And I got on the phone and started calling my brother right away. And by the way, on my interview, the cameraman took pictures of my phone and my name on my phone to prove it's my phone, and he even took a screenshot of when Malaya called me when I was on the pipeline and told me to come back here. Well, why send a screenshot to you guys or to this chat showing when she made the phone call to Malaya? Shouldn't it be when Malaya made the phone call when the kids went missing? Okay, here's another thing. If I got a phone call from someone, from my daughter, saying my kids were missing, wouldn't you leave right away to come over to see your daughter and be there for her when she needed her? Not like an hour and 33 minutes said that she was leaving then. Nothing happened the night before. I already told you. I heard the kids here Friday morning. Nothing happened to those kids Thursday night. Friday morning I heard them. I just love it when I put on a message here and then
Friday morning, she heard them as though that's supposed to be good enough. That's not seeing them. It's not interacting with them. In this particular case, it's avoidance. They all have heard them as they were floating in and out of sleep, a semi-conscious state of mind. Just reeks of distancing themselves from any sort of accountability. A person who's truly traumatized by this tends to speak about all of the things that they regret and touch on that emotionally, things that are legitimate in your relationship with the victim. That's not present here. Leslie, what are you admitting to? You're a dealer?
I see all these little people just lining up to hear what I have to say. I'm sorry, I can't answer your question, Vanessa, because I do not know where the kids are, so I can't answer it. As I said, I don't know where the kids are, Believe me, if I knew, you don't think that I would let the investigators of the RCMP know where they are? Believe me, I wished I did know where they were. I would, if they were close, I would go get them myself. I wouldn't care what...
That's a non-answer. That's not any sort of... That's saying nothing. It's not saying anything. Darren and Jordan say the exact same thing. They almost say that word for word, and it's pointless. It's meaningless. It's supposed to mean, I'm like just like you. Look, I understand your concern. I'm just like you. That's what it's attempting to do. It's so disingenuous. Guilty person has that need, not an innocent person. You guys are having a really hard time making a connection with reality and touching the hearts of anybody in the world. You guys are all emotionally unavailable at this point in time. It has everything to do with the lies that you're bringing forth, you're portraying to us.
Anybody said or what anybody done, I would go get them myself, but I do not know where the kids are. I am sorry. I hope this nightmare comes to an end soon, because if not, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Believe me.
Fuck, well, she's well there already. I'd say Janie's a walking nervous breakdown. If she's anything like she is and portrayed herself to be in that CBC interview, she's a nervous breakdown, if there was such a thing. Well, Trail Hiker, I don't think business was very good in that sense. You think old Danny was pimping her out as the kids were hanging out and she had her all sexy baby in the crib while she was taking care of business in the living room? They can't even keep their house clean enough to get repeat business. This is like the world's worst whorehouse. Christ, there's cleaner whorehouses out there. I'm sure should the chance have come up that if he could get some sort of money out of other people thinking that way, maybe it was a scam or a con of his he was doing online, who knows? But ain't nobody tapping that. And they're not paying anything for it. You've got better options. Way better options. You don't have to go backwoods and go the dirty route. You can, like in London here, you can just go down to that'd be York Street. You go down York Street and live your fantasy. It costs you money, but it's almost like Amsterdam. Not to that degree. But you can get your full play on it, rub and tugs. They even have businesses catered specifically to married couples. Ooh. Keep me away from that debauchery. I want a good old-fashioned girl. That's in the Western Fair District of London. I could never imagine this situation. Leslie saying, I've never personally seen these rugs firsthand. I've been the mom on mat leave, low income. I was a mama bear, protective. Well, Malaya certainly wasn't a mama bear in that's any sense of the word. She was a type of individual that was caught up in a lot of lies in her own life. She was spiraling downward. The more that she was with this tweaker, the more all of his bad habits were rubbing off on her, and it was affecting the kids. They're so consumed in their own relationship and their interpretation of what a healthy relationship between a man and a woman should be and the reasons why they're doing it in the first place. The only reason why Daniel's doing it is for control. That's all he knows. He thinks that that's what it's for. Oh, Mr. Promises, Mr. Oh, let's walk on a long sandy beach together, and maybe we'll whisper sweet nothings in each other's ear by the waterfalls. Oh, what the fuck would we talk about? What the fuck were you talking about? Were you talking about how shitty of a place you're about to move her into with Janie? Janie and her dog? Oh, she looks so damn good in her filters. You fell in love with each other's filters on Facebook dating. Can you imagine? Oh, she's so fine. Oh, she's so fine. I want to get with that. Mike said that the other day. Bah, I won't repeat it. About selling the person that you want to be. That's what Facebook dating is in that sense. And you can see that happening in this circumstance. Danny might want to be a whole different type of person, but the problem is right now, he sees himself as the monster. He knows that people see and interpret it that way and see him as such at this point in time, and they've got every reason to, because he did the act. And that's the reason for this desperate conspiracy. He's pulled all kinds of people in. The more that you get to know them, like Janie, the more that you believe that they have a lot more to do with whatever happened to Jack and Lily. Wade and Cindy, they got the hell out of there as soon as possible. They saw what was going on. They had a feeling before they even arrived there. According to Wade. Well, Leslie, it doesn't really actually smell of anything. Weed's what smells. If Daniel didn't work, what did he do all day? Get high. What did Janie do all day? Get high. Malaya had the baby after the kids went to school. How did they get money? Is Janie receiving a monthly check? Well, they got money every month based off of Jack and Lily. They got the maximum amount of stipend the government gives every child's mother every month. It's probably about $1,600, $1,800 maybe, plus more from Meadow. So he's living off all of that money, and that's affecting everybody else to the point where they're living for free in Janie's trailer while he continues to get fucking high on that Cristal, the Tina, the Jib.
And my dog is going to have one too, because he's just like me. He's so nervous. He's so upset. He's so much anxiety because I'm got so much in me that my dog is feeling it. And it's not fair to him. So I would love this to be over too, believe me. I would do anything in the world to find those children. Okay, I'm going to answer about 2 more questions, and then I'm calling it a night because I'm starting to get a headache repeating myself over and over again. Okay, if somebody asks me a question that I already answered, I'm going to say answered, and then I'll take the next one. I'll give you a chance for 2 more questions, so they better be questions that I haven't already answered.
I'll give you a chance for 2 more questions. She's like having a 50-50 raffle here. Oh, lucky, I'll do another spin. Are you playing bingo there, honey? She loves being Little Miss Popular. Little Miss, I know, and I have information that everybody wants. But you guys better be good and respect me and treat me nice and don't judge me. But if you do, I don't care.
Please.
I don't know who the lady is that was asking me the questions earlier. If she's here, she can ask me the questions, please. Okay, if the question is already asked, I'm going to say answered it. Then you guys can go back and look at the answers, because I'm not going to be here all night answering all your questions over again. I'm sorry. I'm getting older by the minute. Thank you. I appreciate that.
She's having a
I
hard go of
cannot
it.
say they were abducted by a stranger. That's my opinion. As I said, I lived here for 26 years. I know the traffic on this road. And I brought my kids up here. And Jack and Lily have lived here for 2 years. So I can't understand why it happened Friday, after them living here for 2 years. And the way Malaya was acting, in my opinion, I feel like she knew what was going on. And there's those 3 questions that I asked earlier. 1, how would anybody know the kids were home from school? And 2, how would they know when the kids were outside playing? And 3, when I seen Malaya standing outside of when I opened the RV door, she wasn't panicked, she wasn't out of breath, and she wasn't crying or yelling for those kids. Well, you can talk through the mic like I'm doing, because I would never be able to keep up with all your guys' typing all at once. Would I hear a car pull in my driveway where I live in the RV? It depends. If it's a newer car, probably not. But if they parked on the side of the road,
Janie, let me ask you a
I
question,
wouldn't
honey.
hear it.
What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color, Janie? I'm so interested in you.
My dog
Girl who does your makeup.
alerts me when people come in my yard. So when he hears a voice, he barks. I get up and I look to see if anybody's there. My dog usually sits in the window. But that morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed. When he heard the kids yelling, or kids talking, I should say, sorry, talking, my dog was in bed with me, and I told him, it's the kids outside playing. He shut right up. Then he barked again when Daniel was yelling out the back door for the kids. I didn't pay any attention to him because I thought he was telling the kids to get into the house. And besides, Jack lets my chickens out. And I let my chickens out at 7 o'clock that morning. So Jack has a habit of going around, moving stuff, and the chickens get out underneath the pen. So I thought he was yelling at him about the chickens. We've been saying that from the beginning. She only made one interview since that day when the kids went missing. She hasn't opened her mouth to anybody else, as far as I've known. We can't get any information out of the investigators. We've asked, but he says that they cannot tell us anything about their side of the family, what they're doing with them or what they are talking about or anything, because it has nothing to do with us. Just like they cannot tell them anything that we have said or we have done. So, if you want to blame anybody or anything, blame the RCMP and the investigators for not putting out a report on what has been done so far in this case.
Blame the RCMP. Don't blame her or anybody there. We don't feel bad. They're not even our grandkids. Oh, but I treat them just like one of my own. You can't have these ambiguous statements out there, Janie, baby.
To answer your question to that, what do you think my motivation is for Malaya doing this? I can tell you this. I'm not Malaya. I don't know what Malaya thinks, and I don't know what Malaya does. So I don't have any idea what her motivation would be for her doing this. That's a question you have to ask Malaya. As I'm going to say to everyone that is listening, I live in my RV, they live in the trailer. What goes on in the trailer is their business. What goes on in my RV is my business. It would be a different thing if I lived in there. I would know what was going on in their lives. But where I live out here, I have no idea what's going on in there.
Yeah, you see that? See what she's doing there? She's coming out and signaling to us preemptively that, you know, we're going to be finding out things, and she wouldn't otherwise know anything about the things that we're going to find out about their relationship that they've mentioned that they want to keep private. Malaya wants to keep private. Doesn't matter the details. You've already really admitted to it. You affirmed it.
Yes, Cindy has been to this trailer, I would say, at least 3 to 4 times that I know of. And I've talked to the lady once since she's been here. She's never been to any birthday parties. When she does come over, she has taken the kids, I believe once, maybe twice, I'm not sure, taken them, both of them, but sometimes she only takes one kid at a time because she can't handle both of them at the same time. So I never really, I'm going to say 3 or 4 times, I don't know, could be more. I never really took notice how many times she was here because, hell, it's none of my business when she comes and when she goes.
It's none of your business, Janie, when somebody comes to your house to pick up Jack and Lily. It's none of your business who comes and goes from your property. That's so bizarre for somebody like her to say. She just wants to get out of that conversation. She wants to end it. She's forcing herself any way possible. She's messing up lying.
I know Patty has been here a lot more times than Cindy because Patty has never missed a kid's birthday party. And when Malaya and Daniel moved into the trailer, Patty came over more than Cindy ever did. And then a while after that, when Patty wasn't able to drive or didn't want to drive, her Hayden would come over to the birthday parties and drive Patty here. So Hayden has been here at the trailer. I will answer your question. No, I did not see Malaya at the end of the driveway. Malaya was seen in front of my RV when I opened the door about 5 or 10 minutes after Daniel was hollering for the kids. I opened the door and Malaya was standing in front of my RV, and I asked her what was up. She said the kids are missing. I said how long? She said 20 minutes. Well, that's a good question. I wished I knew a way to get Malaya to talk, but there's no way you're going to, because wherever she is, she's got people watching her or people telling her what to say. I don't know. I can't tell you how you can get to Malaya. I really can't. Her friends are not only saying what they want to say.
House music saying, I'm still stuck on 2 weeks after shacking up. They were together for 2 weeks before they shacked up. Oh, I just met this crazy, lovely new guy on Facebook dating. His name's Danny. Yeah, and he does crystal every day. Oh, he's just so dreamy. Yeah, I think we're gonna move in together. He just showers me with love. So apparently you didn't have to say too much, house music. 2 weeks? What did you think was going to happen, Daniel? Did you sober up and realize that in that period between being high and sobering up, or coming back to homeostasis, as close as to it as you could get, you were a little temperamental? Your emotions were outside of your control? You were short-circuiting? All of those lies that you put so much work into with Malaya, finally the spell broke a little bit and she was growing a set and getting the hell out of there. And you, again, physically tried to stop her, but this time you did something new and you used your kids against her in that sense. It escalated past just becoming physical with her when she was calling for backup, when she needed to hear a voice of love and comfort rather than one that was constantly disparaging, abusing her, yelling at her. Yeah, Mayflower, Cindy has old Danny figured out. The McKenzie and Martells are infamous in Pictou. Infamous douchebags, maybe. Tambourine, she told Belinda she was moving the kids to a farm. Yeah, okay, the funny farm. She told that she was going to the country, to a farm. What sort of animals did you have out there? Just an angry dog and a bunch of rats. A couple chickens in the back. Well, that's a real great farm. Maybe a rooster. You don't even have a goat to cut the lawn. What sort of farm is this? They're not doing it right.
And it's usually towards Daniel, not what Malaya want, or not sticking up for Malaya, because if they're asked questions, they just say, "Oh, Malaya wants her time to herself." So I don't know how you're going to get to Malaya. Believe me, it's been since I did my interview on Thursday. My chest has been lifted so much because as I said, I had this inside me for 2 months because the investigator said that keep quiet due to the investigation. They even got after Daniel for speaking to the press and everything because they were scared that he would say something that would interfere in the investigation. That's all I can tell you. That's why I kept quiet, because they told me not to say anything. And then as I said, I got fed up with it. It's been 2 months since this happened. I told the investigators everything that I am telling you guys. I told the news press everything that I'm telling you guys. And I've just had it because there's no updates on what's going on. And it's just frustrating me. And I just couldn't deal with the stress anymore. So I had to let it out. I don't give a shit if I get in trouble for what I've done or not. If they want to haul me away for doing something, to saying something.
Janie doesn't care if she gets in trouble for what it is that she's done. Oh, wow. That's juicy, isn't it? Talking about the stresses, cognitive load. She doesn't even care if she gets in trouble for the things that she's done. Well, why would an individual ever be concerned for what it is that they've done if they haven't done anything at all? These people who are so terrified of being framed, these aren't the first thoughts that pops into an innocent individual's mind. Ever. I don't even care if I get in trouble for the things that I've done in relation to this situation. Well, what is that exactly? Does she mean an incident with the children? The event? Or is she talking about the conspiracy after the fact? in her parade of bullshit, her circus of deceit.
Something to harm their investigation, let them come and do it. Right now, they gotta find Jack and Lily. They gotta stop pussyfooting around and start looking for Jack and Lily. They didn't take long to come here and search.
Janie's gone through with all of the things, all of the scenarios that would be a possible theory if it were as it was supposed to be. She undermines every possibility, but yet she needs people to go out and search for Jack and Lily as though they just wandered off. Again, it's her form of putting the blame back onto the victims in the circumstance, where the mystery lies, where the poor choice here, the human error occurred. She insists it occurred with the children by simply getting their boots on and walking out the back door through that silent door of hers. I like to wring her head off that door a couple times, I tell you. And they just wandered off into Never Never Land, never to be seen again. She's not even upset. And if you don't believe her, she doesn't care. She doesn't care if you judge her. But she does secretly. That's why she continues to bring all of these things up. All of the scrutiny that's coming their way online over the lack of statement, the lack of clarity, and continued obfuscation of this particular case with Jack and Lily are what people are reacting to. All of the information comes by way of Janie, Daniel, and a little bit trickling out from Malaya. Nobody's had to manufacture or fabricate anything from the outside and come at them in a way that is clearly a crime or even close to it. People can't get over the things that Janie and Daniel claim to be true. It has everything to do with what it is they acknowledge. And it's that Swiss cheese of a timeline. And the physicality in their relationship, combined and exacerbated by the substance abuse, mainly by Daniel in all of this. And Janie was just the person with the thumb screw that just was tightening the pressure up on the family on top of everything. Because Daniel was continuing to lie. That's all he has. He was lying in his real life to everybody in it, just like he's lying now. Daniel ruined the whole family, says Meep 2576, and she's not pissed at that asshole. Well, her denial runs thick. You can pick up on what is, she says the exact opposite, but the fact that she introduces all of these things as though they are an issue that's been brought up is just leakage in of itself. She has the need to defend certain things, certain issues that stand out to her, and her priority is herself. Then Daniel. Yeah. Yet she wouldn't let the pussyfooters in to search her RV, Sandra. Oh, yeah, she's got all of the reasons for it, and she wants to talk endlessly about all of these reasons that go right back around and make no point. There's no real meaning behind the words that she's saying. It's a waste of breath. It's bullshit. Storytelling. Nonsense. Gives a fuck. But again, they continue to present things like that. Hopefully, it's like throwing a bunch of shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. Julie, you work in maternity. I see women that lose babies and children. When you hold them, you can feel their soul collapse. The sobs are guttural, almost primal. It doubles them. This family's reaction is flat. Yeah, in comparison, yeah, there's no genuine bond or emotion with the children. In fact, they're eager to have all of this gone away. And you guys search anywhere but there. Because whatever happened to Jack and Lily, they're not on that property. Very specific. She says they're not on that property. Well, that's a start, Janie. Thank you. That's a clue in this Nintendo game. Lastly, I would sit back and wait for the guilty party to make themselves famous on Facebook and YouTube. Already done that. A lot of chatter out there. My top 3 are Daniel, Janie, and Derpwood. Well, listen. Daniel's the primary problem here with the event. They can sort everything else out afterwards. A lot of people are talking about how they think Janie, because of the things that she's insisted and publicly stated that can easily be used against her later, can be easily ripped apart because of how they've contradicted themselves and been inconsistent openly about it, especially who said what to Malaya in the driveway. They've both told the story in the exact same way from the exact same perspective. It can't be both people at once. One of you had to have said it. These are the things that they can use against them to convince the judge in the preliminary hearing that there's criminality at foot. And they went as far as to mention that in that particular article from the Globe and Mail. That's the types of things, for example.
Search all this place and ask us all kinds of questions and everything, and now they're not bothering with us at all. So the only thing I could say is they must be working on her side. Just try to figure out what's going on
Probably
her side.
Logan Ginger.
Because as I said, I haven't talked to the investigators. It must be about 3 weeks.
Logan said that Daniel's proved himself over and over and over again, and she's very defensive about her Danny. There's something wrong with their relationship, and I would have to think that with all of the time Logan spent with old Janie down there in the driveway, that their paths may have crossed once or twice, and maybe they banged. Maybe they started making out because he was so horny, as he was all tweaked out on that Cristal, he couldn't help himself. And he's crossed that threshold, he's crossed the line, and he's really keeping it in the family. I'm not even joking about that. That's Logan and her man Danny.
Or more.
Cousin Lover.
Nobody's been around here. Nobody has been in contact with us. I don't see any RCMP officers around here anymore. Or nothing. It's like, to tell you the truth, you want to know my personal opinion, it's like to them this like nothing never happened here. It's like they're done here.
Much like her own.
I already asked that question about my knowledge leading up to the disappearance. I've already answered that question.
I've already answered that.
As I said earlier.
Well, I guess that's avoidance in your face right there, isn't it? Isn't it just as simple just to answer the same question? Maybe they want to check for inconsistency. It's almost like an insult that somebody asked her a similar question. Still, the individual's no clearer. I already answered that. How dare you ask me that again? Try pulling that with the cops.
The grown-ups can deal with this. It's the children that I'm worried about, what they're going through. I was saying today to somebody, just think what little Jack and Lily's going through. Why? Where's Mommy? How come I can't see Mommy? Why is this happening to me? And then there's Meadow. Meadow can't see her brother and sister.
Very bizarre.
And as I said, when she sees them,
her enacting and fantasizing here is very sick. Very, very cold and distant from what a true bonded female. Women who love kids get broody, and they can really speak at great length to no end on kids and their love for them. It speaks without having to tell everybody how much you love kids. Janie's just bizarre and off-putting. It just stands out. Ugh. Every time AB says that, I get a Whittaker flashback again, Julie. All the Whittakers.
She's only small, she's only a little child, but when she seen Jack and Lily's face, she lit up like you wouldn't believe it. And then there's my other 2 grandchildren. They played with Jack and Lily out in this yard for 2 years. I watched them play, and now they don't know what's happening. They don't know where Jack and Lily is. They don't know what happened to them. It's the children that I'm worried about. As I said, us grown-ups can deal with it. It's the children that's happening.
Us grown-ups can deal with it. It's the children that she's so concerned about. Well, again, what is this it she keeps referring to? She's referring to whatever happened to Jack and Lily, but she won't commit linguistically, aka describe, communicate to us what that is. She's purposefully cognizant of doing it as well. She's doing it on purpose. Those are deception in motion right there. What a fucking huge asshole, eh? Like, what a disgusting human being, Janie. We see just how much you dislike, hate children. That's what Malaya, imagine walking into, that's like such a nightmare Friday the 13th situation. This is going to be a horror story, a horror movie. Think about Malaya going upon her life, trying to improve her life, and coming across a tweaker who's blasting all kinds of, semi-porn over his Facebook dating profile, and he gets hooked up with this girl through this presumed file that this individual says represents their true character, and it ends up being Danny, who's lying to her the entire time about his substance abuse issues, past the point of her getting pregnant by him. All of a sudden, when the child's born, it goes full Twilight Zone, and she becomes like this prop, this object in a cage that can't really interact with the outside world because the person that she's got involved with is unrealistically holding these expectations against her and how she should be acting in this scenario, backed up by this crazy woman, Janie. It's a true Twilight Zone. They end up devouring her kids, eating them, all while blaming her. What a horror story.
Having the hard time with it. As I said, I am going to tell you this. And I said it before, what goes on in Daniel's life has nothing to do with me. I don't care what he does. I don't care where he goes. I do not question the boy, what he does, where he goes. I am, as I said, I'm a hermit. I stay here. I don't interfere in his life. I don't interfere in my kids' lives at all, whether it's Daniel or it's Justin's. They live their own life. I live mine. So to answer your question, I do not know. Okay, group chat, if there's no more questions, I'm going to say good night. And thank you all for listening and not judging.
And not judging me. Thank you all for not judging her tonight. Too late. Ruby says earlier, she said, if they were close, I'd go get them myself, implying that the children are not close. What does she consider close? Like from here to the chickens? Or is close like 2 kilometers? What's close in Janie's mind? I get what you're doing. I'm with you. The boy. Friends, it's coming up at 2 hours, 41 minutes. I appreciate the fantastic super chat tonight, Lindy. Thank you very much. And everybody else who's been tagging along for this long. Keep your eyes out for some uploads, some highlight video uploads. Tomorrow's live stream being Saturday. We'll go over the unredacted portions of the court documents and continue this parade of reality and talking about this case as it should be talked about. I'm going to leave you today with Janie's Got a Rake again, the same way we opened this particular show up tonight. And when you listen to the words and get used to it, my compliments to the chef on this particular music file. It was done quickly, but it's bang on, and it tells the story in a nutshell about what's really going on in the Jack and Lily case. And it's catchy, and it grows on you as well. So fantastic.
I know for 100% they won't
tomorrow.
find anything.
So what do you make of the fact that they are bringing the cadaver dogs in?
Janie's got a rake.
Well, I'm actually pretty happy about that.
Janie's got a rake.
I even hope that they bring more than one.
She's got so much to do.
What are you happy about?
Her driveway needs a pool.
I would just like to see maybe the social media speculation theories and accusations, maybe they're not going to stop, but slow down. Because at this point, they're getting ridiculous.
When Danny was arrested, they found him on the pipeline trail. In front of helicopters running, now that Janie's got a rake, Fluffy's never gonna be the same.
Daniel's so fake, now what's he gonna do? Was he building a fence or clearing for a pool? Did the kids go to sleep at 10 or at 8? Little Danny boy can't escape his fate. Danny's more concerned about what you're thinking. The kids are an afterthought, let that sink in. Trolling the net pops up like a whack-a-mole. You wanna buy a story with a giant hole? Apparently Thursday had no detail. Here comes Mike on a mission to derail all of the BS Danny is speaking. International sea of guilt is leaking. Thinks he's so smart, but he never took the course. Forensic linguistics will knock him off his horse. Shout out to Tint for the 4K drone shots. Now it is clear that his house is in earshot. Mystery car running trips through the night. Observed by Wonk, he could even see the headline. Victim blaming is degrading the children. He's more concerned about the world's perception. Girl after girl, he receives rejection. At least he's got his mum when he needs some affection.
Janie's got a rake.
So are you thinking that the dogs will go in there and won't find anything?
Janie's got a rake.
I know for 100% they won't find anything.
She's got so much to do.
I didn't do anything.
Her driveway needs a pool.
I know Malaya didn't do anything. I know my mother didn't do
What
anything.
did her daddy do?
Those are 3 people on the property.
What did he put Jack and Lily through?
I mean, after the polygraph exam, they should have known right there. We didn't kill any of the kids.
They found him on the pipeline trail.
We didn't kill any of the kids. We didn't kill any of the kids.
In front of helicopters running, now that Janie's got a rake, Fluffy's never gonna be the same.
We didn't kill any of the kids.
Danny's on a roll, now he can't stop speaking. Plugging up the holes, but his ship is sinking. Thursday was just an ordinary day. I just spent 20 minutes trying to explain that nothing didn't happen and there are no details. Stupid dog handlers, they ain't gonna sniff trails. 100% they will not find nothing. That's a double negative, you dumb butt muffin. I was awake and asleep at the exact same time. Hang on, is Malaya's story lining up with mine? No cars were towed, but it's not at the impound. It wasn't in my name and the car makes no sound. This is a case of abuse and negligence. Jack and Lily are the victims of its consequence. Victim blaming is the mode of the family. You never hear anyone take responsibility. There were 3 adults on the block that night. People don't just vanish, get that right. Like John Benet Ramsey, there should be an indictment, and Janie is to blame for your incitement. You put up a wrench, but what the hell for? Like a bear can turn a handle but not slide a door. Your incessant rambling is a gift to detectives. So many contradictions, your tale is defective.
Janie's got a right.
Filled notebooks with just trying to help them find leads, or
Janie's got a right.
give them any kind of small detail, answer as many questions as I can, or, you know, I'm doing everything I can.
Driveway needs a pore.
So why do you think this step is necessary?
What did her Danny do?
Well, it just rules out one and brings the book a little bit closer to being
They
closed.
said when Danny was arrested, they found him on the pipeline track.
I'm not going to say I'm doing well, but doing better than I was at the start, I guess.
Helicopters running, now that Janie's got a rake. Fluffy's never gonna be the same.
Tell me about the toll, like what you were just mentioning earlier about social media.
Yeah, social media has been quite a circus, we'll call it.